And it should be said that this is all a public space.
Yes.
So if you're watching this at home and you are a solo player, if you don't have a friends list that is bristling with teammates, Destiny will introduce you to people that will help you complete this activity. We currently have a pre-made fire team, and they are, in fact, heroic. Now let's check this out. I promised before that this was the most rewarding public event, and there we have it. We have 2 chests
So
for
good.
a change. I promised before that this was the most rewarding public event.
This was the most rewarding public event. The most rewarding public event. The most rewarding public event.
And check out those sweet, sweet moves.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say it, but you know I'm upset.
Hey y'all, this is Siege, and here's how this video is going to go. I don't even want to discuss what we just saw right there, because it's only going to make me mad. I'm going to try to be constructive, and kind of what I did in an earlier video about what Destiny could take from the Division, none of which they did, mind you. I'm going to go over what I think Destiny could take from Warframe to potentially make it better. Another piece of advice they'll most likely ignore. So, in light of that, here it is, Warframe. Have you played it? Let me first say how much fun I've been having. This game has an absolute mountain of content, and if you're the type of person that enjoys varied gameplay, doing a bit of grinding for the items you want, and overall chasing the power dream, where you can just continue adding to your character's overall power and justifying your time investment, this might be the game for you. Many of us are looking for something to fill the gap, so to speak, that Destiny 2 has left for us. I mean, let's be honest here. If you've played it with any consistency, you're probably looking for something to do with whatever free time you have right now. Destiny 2 has endgame issues, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to fix any of them anytime soon. I'm not even sure they're trying to fix them, to be quite honest with you. So, for all you hardcore Destinyers out there, let me at least go over some reasons you might want to pick this game up. I mean, it's free to play, so apart from the space on your hard drive, what really do you have to lose? The first and probably most important aspect of what I appreciate from Warframe is the fact that they decided to continue to expand on the game rather than just rebooting it. I believe this was a serious miscalculation from Bungie, and one I think they're going to regret, especially in the long run with Destiny 2. Warframe was originally launched in early 2013 on the PC. It's not an error. This game is literally coming up on its 5-year anniversary, and given that the game just introduced its first open world and plans to do a similar thing for each of the planets in its solar system, which includes, well, take a look for yourself. There's quite a few nodes here, and each node has its own set of missions. They've done a similar thing with their Warframes, which I would equate to a subclass for each of Destiny's 3 character classes, by constantly reworking old frames to be more relevant as well as creating new ones in the process. The recently released Plains of Eidolon DLC just introduced a brand new Warframe, with plans to bring another one into the fold very soon. And they keep adding new things to do. In Warframe, you have planets with basic missions scattered amongst them, as I just showed you, actual quests that deal with more of the overarching story of the game or the lore behind particular Warframes. You've got a PvP section, joinable factions that are pitted against each other, 2 raids that up to 8 people can engage in at once, a huge and growing list of weapons, warframes, and companions, ships that can be decorated, a robust modification system to customize said weapons and warframes to suit the individual's playstyle and aesthetics, and even fishing and mining that was just recently added to the latest DLC. There's a ton of things to do here, where even the most hardcore grinder will have their work cut out for them in getting everything they want. One of the major issues I think Destiny had is taking a traditionally grindy game like it was and making it into a casual shooter. And when I think of Destiny 1, I think more in the lines of Warframe, The Division, or even in some ways World of Warcraft, whereas Destiny 2 I would put closer to like a Call of Duty or Battlefront. That's not really a problem until you consider that most games don't really regress as sequels, mainly because their fan base expects a particular thing, especially after playing a game for a consistent amount of time, and in the case of Destiny, up to 3 years. Some might consider it a simplification of the game, but unfortunately, it's just more than that. It's a regression, and I believe that fact in itself is why the game is having such a hard time with its core fans. They changed the game to attract new players, but I feel like the group who kept the game going during its original rough spots most likely feel a little cheated and underappreciated right now. Can't say I blame them either. Warframe did what Bungie promised it would do with Destiny, a 10-year adventure. My thought is that when players first heard that, they didn't consider their progress would be completely reset at least once, potentially more, depending on how many sequels, and I do use that term in the loosest of ways, the company decides to put out during that time. And what I do believe is that they really hurt pre-orders of a potential Destiny 3 with this latest launch. Next, let's talk about character progression. We all now know that getting a character to max level in Destiny 2 is pretty easy, and the reward for doing so doesn't seem that great. I personally can't tell the difference between a 290 character and a 305 character. I even think you could make the argument that 305 and 275 power aren't much different from each other. So what good is the extra time investment to get them to max level? This is another area where the player's time in-game is not respected in Destiny, other than to put a higher number by their name. And why do they continue to show a 20 by everyone's name anyhow? What exactly are they trying to show there? Other than someone having the Legend of Acreus shotgun, what other item shows off a player's time commitment or prowess in the game? Emblems? Shaders? Raid or Trials armor? Well, considering a person can get a piece of each of these sets from just being in a clan that completes either event on a weekly basis, the emblem is about all that you're really talking about. And seriously, who gives a shit about emblems? I can't play with an emblem. There's nothing to the emblem itself. It just does nothing for me while I'm in the game. It's lackluster, and one reward that Bungie needs to let go of is being something for high-level activities. Simple as that. Conversely, in Warframe, you have many instances of this. Certain Warframes are only available at certain times of the year, so you know if someone has one of them, they've most likely been around the block a good bit. Certain weapons are only available to players who have had a certain number of days played, as the game offers a daily tribute for just logging in, and milestone markers for 50, 100 day, 200 day, up to 700 days played right now. And it gives incentive to, if nothing else, a person just to log in. When you see a player with a Zenithstar or a Zenith, you know that they've been doing this for a while. They even have a mastery rank system in the game that shows how much you've done in the game itself and tests you on each level. When you see a high mastery rank, again, you know the player has put the time in. This is a very important aspect for this sort of looter-shooter collector game. Digital Extremes, the developer for Warframe, even has plans to allow players to visit other players' ships where they can see what each other's done and accumulated. This is a great idea and will make players want to pretty up their orbiters even more than they do now. By the way, here's a quick view of my ship. I have all kinds of good little things going on. Here, let's look in the back real quick. Oh, that's my brand new Adarza cat I just incubated out. Looking pretty nice. There's where you build weapons. These are all statues that I've accumulated, basically found in game or actually got them as rewards. These are pictures from a quest. Up here, and you can see all the different things I have. Sadly, this only scratches the surface of Warframe's character progression too, as continued play will net the most important of items, mods. The game offers a base set of modifications for both Warframes and weapons that are fairly easy to attain, but also offers a ton of what I would call endgame mods that really dial in how each player wants his character to perform. This type of variety just offers so much replayability because a new Warframe can totally change the player experience, and new mods can totally change that experience. I was seriously hoping Destiny would do something like this, but a rally barricade or a healing rift alone isn't going to cut it. Seriously, can somebody please show me any innovation in Destiny 2? It's not that it's lacking, it's just not there. Let me be clear. Warframe does have a bit of a convoluted story in the early stages, but later quests really show an aspect where Warframe shines. I've said this next statement to pretty much everybody I know who plays video games. The Second Dream quest is literally one of the best experiences I've ever had in video games. It explained so much about the character and why we're doing what we're doing in the game. And its voiceover work, story script, and visuals match anything I've seen. That quest to me is an absolute masterpiece. Warframe's War Within quest pulls up a pretty close second to that as well. Comparing the story from Warframe and Destiny 2 isn't even a thing. Destiny 2's story is so shockingly bad, so insignificant and pointless, that I honestly just try to forget I played it 3 times. Everything about it was meaningless. The Cabal are uninteresting. The main antagonist was so blatantly ripped off from other media, Star Wars, looking at you here, and his motivations were just puzzling. Can anybody tell me if the speaker is dead? Is he dead here? Who wrote this shit? Why did Gaul kill his mentor and old friend so unceremoniously? Wait, is he dead? Are either of these two dead here? What the fuck is happening? If the Traveler could just revive itself at any time, why is there even a Destiny game at all? Aren't the Guardians there to protect the city and quote-unquote do what the Traveler himself could not? Did the Traveler need to take a coma for a while to regain its strength? And why is nothing different now than it was when the Traveler was asleep or whatever it was? I'd say we're weaker as Guardians now. Did the Traveler dial back on some of the power to juice itself again? Can somebody just please explain something in the game? Please. Okay. This isn't constructive now. It's just a rant. I apologize. Finally, the gameplay variety is a welcome change from Destiny 2. You can fight, you can fish, you can mine, you can play different teams, score-based activities in both PvP and PvE. There's a multitude of full-blown story quests and then individual planet missions that vary from simple extermination missions to horde mode survival and defense nodes, a control-based activity called interception, spy missions where stealth is the key, there's rescues, and well, there's just too many to go over, honestly. They even have heroic, or what they call them, nightmare versions of each of these for each planet. There are Archwing missions where you fly around with your Warframe and have an entirely new ability set based on which Archwing you're using. There's raids, and now there's even Eidolon fights. And within these, the gameplay itself is even varied. Some Warframes are damage-based, and many times I find myself never firing a weapon during a fight, relying solely on the frame's abilities. Some are completely support-based, offering buffs to other characters within the party. Some frames are tanks and rely on weapons for damage. And then there are the weapons themselves. Very few of these feel the same in the game, and none are reskins of another. They are all unique in some way, and many offer secondary fire options, varying gameplay even more. For the record, my current favorite primary is a stick that fires beams and can be thrown into a group, corralling all of them together and dealing damage over all of them at the same time. Does it get better than that? How about the rocket launcher in this game that actually has Wolfpack rounds and then doubles as a shotgun for its secondary firing method? At least this game still has a Gallarhorn. Honestly, it actually has a bunch of Gallarhorns. So, in closing, if you're looking for something to play and can deal with the third-person aspect, I know that's going to be kind of weird for a lot of Destiny players, but if you can, please give this game a look. I'm going to start posting videos So hopefully you'll enjoy that and maybe give the game a chance yourself. If you haven't already played it, or maybe if you played it a long time ago and haven't come back to it, now is the time. At any rate, take care all. Have a great day, and I'm looking forward to talking to all of you in the next one. Bye.